This was not going to be the next episode. Odogaron was. But like a teenager that forgot to pull out, guess we have to deal with some surprises now. If someone were going to ask me to describe this monster, I would say, think of dodging a semi. A difficult and life-threatening task, maybe, but definitely doable if the vehicle is staying at a constant speed in one direction towards you. Now try doing that where the semi can come at you from seemingly every direction and turn on a dime, and you can say you've seen the hell that is this coded abomination. The word of the day today, kids, is inconsistent, like the weather or my internet speed. And unfortunately, the Black Diablos embodies this word more than the developers themselves could have ever conceived. Keeping with the theme, as such, periodically through this video, I will be giving the many inconsistencies in my life, like that time I tripped halfway up the steps. Black Diablos, is the true diva of the Wildspire Waste, and will take its Drag King crown as it tramples about through rocks, pillars, other monsters, and never stop. You can find her where normal Diablos sleeps, and if you're slower than 3 minutes, she'll move to either the open desert or to Diablos himself for some fun time. Unfortunately, not so fun for you. Her weak points are her head, horns, chest, and wings. Her head and horns kind of being a pair. All of them being breakable, with the exception of her tail, which is severable. Elemental weaknesses are water and ice, with the element paralysis edging out over most of the others, which is probably the only saving grace when it comes to reliably dealing with her bull. Unlike that of the regular Diablos, Black Diablos are all females in heat, which explains the overzealous and volatile nature on display. Also, unlike regular Diablos, she has a few new tricks up her sleeve for your displeasure. Her initial charge and dig attacks are all the same as Diablos in the sense that she gets stimulated by trampling any movement in sight, which for you tends to turn out quite bad, since she does a lot of damage and can stun really easily, which ironically in a way makes sense for a semi with legs. And I once stubbed my toe so hard that my foot fell asleep for almost half a day. Now the key thing to remember with what I said was initially, because this is where most hunters make their initial mistakes in underestimating her. See, Diablos is challenging but also predictable, once you learn that evading early and away is generally your best way to avoid getting hit. Black Diablos, however, takes Diablo's normal moves like charge and dig and adds a single ingredient of bleach to make you ask why you aren't actually drinking it in the real world. First off, she tracks your position. Not where you're going, but where you are, which makes evading close to her like evading VD in a one-night stand, which I can guarantee you'd get from this thing. This would allude to distance being your friend, but sometimes that doesn't translate well to her. What's the saying? Man makes plan while Kieran and Black Diablo screw you infinitely. That's a video for another time. Her secondary charge move is that of normal Diablos' charge, where she stamps her feet for a second or just starts in a running motion and charges at you, where she doesn't seemingly track your position like normal, and sometimes halfway towards you she'll just arbitrarily change direction to track you, and I swear one time she did it 90 damn degrees. The big move you need to watch out for, however, is her dig, which sometimes is like my grades, and sometimes like my relationship status. The attack is either like normal Diablos, and she comes up charging underground and straight up, or she doesn't for a moment, then comes spiraling out like college debt. Did I forget to mention that this attack has no tells as to which, so I advise sheathing and diving away just to be safe. Also, she does copy one move from Diablos that I'm pretty sure is a bit fucky, because the hitbox for it is a little bit longer than you think it would be with her horns, even though her horns and Diablos's are about the same size. So she does this little dash left and right. If you see her do that, I would just run away from her or duck under her legs where it's safe. Otherwise, I hear lacerations are the craze among kids these days. All of this wouldn't feel like bathing with a sandpaper brush if the consistency of her moves were more than a coin flip, more tilted than a YouTube rationalist looking at a female protagonist. Any and all of the previous mentioned alternative moves can occur with no indication as to being different from the original, since sometimes she does what Diablos does, and sometimes she just does whatever the fuck she wants. So provided you haven't rage quit off the planet, here are a few things to make your Shiza Kuro Diablos experience, well, not bollocks. Well, at least less bollocks. First off, Screamer Pods. Shoot at her whenever she digs in the ground to force her out for about 5 to 8 seconds. It depends on how tired she is. For free hits, which may sound like small amounts of time, but anytime a horn isn't aimed at your backside, when you want to do damage is a blessing. Although they are not farmable, they are obtained by getting them from the flying creatures above Diablo's den that summon them. Next, traps. I advise pitfalls more than shock traps, which sounds weird, but trust me. And finally, flash pods. But again, it's a coin flip. Sometimes she stands there gawking at the wall and you, other times she knows exactly where you are and charges directly towards you. And I'll say, it's generally when she's raged, the coin flip is heavily tilted in her favor, so just be careful of that. Adding something a little bit late, since I didn't add this the first time I recorded this, bringing her over to where normal Diablos is, if he is in the area as well, is a good idea. However, if you would like normal Diablos to actually do the 1500 damage to her, you will need to hit Black Diablos while they're in their turf war. Otherwise, Black Diablos will throw him like a man that forgot to pay child support. As for weapons and armor, high defense, as always, is a very good choice to make. Elemental resistance is very negligible since she doesn't really do any element. For skills, Slugger. For easier KO, you'll need to use a KO weapon like an Impact Charge Blade or a Hammer or Hunting Horn. And for stun resistance and Part Breaker as auxiliary skills to the KO. Or if you're not using a weapon again that KOs, just Part Breaker and stun resistance, since as I said, she can stun you very easily and she does a lot of damage, so you don't want to be stunned and have her charge into you, since sometimes her charge can two-hit you. Good weapons for the encounter are Lance, since you can block very easily, Charge Blade, blocking again, Insect Glaive, you're in the air, and Hammer, if you want to be a little bit more chancy. But if you have the KO, you really should not have a problem. For ranged, I would go bow. I've tried heavy bowgun and had mixed results, so I'd say if you're a better heavy bowgun player than I am, which is I'm par, I'd probably say I'm par, then you could use heavy bowgun. Oh, also I forgot, if you break her horns, she does less damage with all of her attacks that involve using her horns. So her charge, her spin, things like that. But her horns are hard points, so you will probably bounce if you're not using a weapon like Hammer or Hunting Horn. Just keep that in mind. And that's basically it for her. If you enjoyed the video, press the subscribe button and notification bell in that order to stay posted. Comment your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. And like a priest spending too much time with the altar boys, I think it's pretty obvious as to my final thoughts on the Black Diablos as a whole. It's my favorite monster.